Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you might be. I'd like to talk about how we develop spreadsheets, particularly when we're reasonably new to the program and we have an idea in mind but we're not quite certain how to go about creating the spreadsheet. Here in the various worksheets down the bottom, there's one called using. These are the commands that we use in this particular exercise. There's only one formula involved, it's VLOOKUP, our old friend VLOOKUP, and there is some formatting. A tip at the very start, I always create spreadsheets first, make sure everything is working here in the commands and the formulas, and finally I do the formatting. So let's look at how we attack this particular spreadsheet. It's an invoice, and what we want to do is to be able to type in an invoice number. It's an invoice for a transport company. There are some details about the company. The date will be automatically filled in for us because in here I have a formula, which is the today formula. Here I have a drop-down list from which I can choose customers. So if I click on number 2, I know that the ID for customer number 2 is Bill Brown Clothing. The customer number 5, for example, is Hutto's Music Shop, etc. There's an area here for special instructions where I can type things like leave at the front door or whatever. This area down here, there is a link to a cell on the worksheet. So what we're going to do now is to bring back in the view area the formula bar, and we'll bring back the grid lines as well, and we'll press Control F1, which will show me the ribbon. Remember, Control F1 hides the ribbon or it brings the ribbon back. So now we can see all of the default views in Microsoft Excel. So here when I click on this cell, I see there is a formula in there, equal today, open and close a bracket. That means that the computer will always fill that cell with the date down here in the computer's clock. Whether the invoice has been approved for delivery, there's a little tick in there, so I've been able to use the developer tab up here to simply draw a box, and we'll see how that is done. The special instructions, as I mentioned before, I have simply merged those cells so that I can type within there, and the amount to be paid simply links by an equal sign to cell D17, equal D17, and it is that one there. The terms are in D18, so all I did was to put a link in the formula bar to D18 in that cell. And there's an area down here after I print the invoice for a signature from the recipient that the goods were received in good order and condition. Now, this area here, there is a drop-down list, and I used data validation to get that drop-down list. And the drop-down list is using a VLOOKUP. So if I look here, I'll see it's looking up what's in cell D12, which is this cell here, and it's looking in the customer details worksheet in A2 to G10, because in the customer details, that is where I have entered the various information about the customers, so that I can simply use the drop-down list to achieve the details to be filled in automatically using VLOOKUP. So there are my customers. The reason I've converted this area to a table, incidentally, and all I did was to click in there and say insert table, was because when I now add another customer, that customer will automatically appear in the drop-down list. So it becomes nice and easy. Now, also you'll notice that I've inserted hyperlinks here. So the hyperlinks, for example, if I click on Jim Smith Timber, I'm taken to the Jim Smith worksheet. So that's nice and easy. and here the menu, what I'm going to do is to right click and insert a hyperlink in the menu to take me back to a place in this file called customer details. OK, so when I click on the menu I'm taken back to the customer details, and again I would complete that information all the way through for the other customers. So what I'm going to do is to upload this file for you, and you'll see the link in the description below where you can download the file and complete some of this information yourself for practice sake. So it's really quite simple, nothing difficult about it. When I go into File, Print Preview, File, Print, there I see I can print out the parts of the spreadsheet, or if I go back to the Home tab and go back to the Invoice, if I want to see the invoice before I print it, File, Print, Print Preview, and there it is, all ready to go. So after I had made certain everything worked, I then formatted, and all I did to format was to put a little bit of colour in the text so it stands out, looks a bit prettier. I also shaded some of these areas by selecting, remember the golden rule of all computing, select then do, and what I did was to, for example, select that area there, and then in the font group in the border I simply chose whether I wanted an outside border or not, and I also filled that area with colour. I chose that colour there. I could have chosen a darker colour. There are the colours that I could use if I wished. So don't forget to subscribe, download the file. Any questions that you might have, please ask at the time. Study the formulas involved, study the linking, and good luck. See you next time. Bye for now.